The whispers started long before the cameras began rolling, but by the time Bambi walked onto set, it was clear something big was about to drop. She didn't come with her usual playful smirk this time. Her eyes carried that sharp, cutting focus you only see when someone's already decided they're not holding back anymore. The room felt different, heavier. Like everyone knew they were standing on the edge of a storm. She sat down, adjusted her mic, and without even waiting for the questions to start, she leaned forward and said, "If this was just the beginning." The words were calm, but they landed with a kind of weight that made every single person freeze. And then she added the part that had everyone's breath catching. Next episode would end Kirk's career. No might, no maybe, no we'll see. Just cold certainty. Producers glanced at each other. The crew tried to keep their hands steady on the cameras, and you could almost feel the energy shift in real time. Bambi wasn't here to stir mild drama, she was here to set something in motion that couldn't be undone. And if the look on her face was any indication, she already knew exactly how it was going to play out. The studio wasn't silent, but the energy felt uneven. Camera operators moved with the usual careful precision. Lights hummed above, producers whispered into headsets. Yet there was something in the air that made everyone a little stiffer than usual. The kind of vibe you can't point at directly, but you feel it crawling over your skin. Mendeces sat with his arms crossed, half listening to jock talk about some after-party, though his eyes kept drifting toward the door. Spice was mid-conversation with Yandi, but even she kept cutting her sentences short, checking the entrance like she knew who was coming. Kirk was already there, leaning back in his chair like he owned the room. One leg crossed over the other, his phone in hand, but his gaze lifting every so often to scan the space. And then it happened, 3 distinct clicks of heels, steady, unhurried, echoing against the polished floor. Heads turned almost in unison. Bambi appeared in the doorway, dressed in a fitted, deep-toned jumpsuit that caught the light with every step. Her hair was sleek, pulled back to reveal the sharp set of her jaw. And her expression was unreadable, which somehow made it more dangerous. The conversations around the table thinned out until only faint background murmurs remained. Even the crew seemed to lean in slightly without meaning to. Bambi didn't rush. She moved through the room like someone who'd already decided the outcome of the day, and was just here to make it official. As she reached her chair, she didn't sit right away. She placed her phone on the table, adjusted the mic clip too. Her neckline smoothed her outfit and let the silence settle. Spice leaned forward slightly, one eyebrow raised. Jock glanced at Kirk with the smallest smirk, like he could already sense this was about to get ugly. Finally, Bambi sat. She rested her hands flat on the table, took one slow breath, and spoke. "This is just the beginning." The words weren't loud, but they cut through the air. Kirk's head tilted a fraction, his eyes narrowing. Yandi stopped mid-text and looked up, phone still in hand. Spice blinked once, like she needed to confirm she'd heard it right. Bambi didn't pause for long before adding, "Next episode will end Kirk's career." The reaction wasn't immediate shouting or chaos, it was sharper than that. The quiet that followed was almost physical, like the sound had been sucked out of the room. One of the camera operators glanced toward a producer for direction, but the producer just made a small keep rolling gesture. Spice let out a low whistle and leaned back. "Girl, you didn't come to play today." Bambi's gaze didn't leave Kirk. "I'm not here to play at all." Jock chuckled, though it sounded more like disbelief than humor. "Bam, that's a whole grenade you just dropped. Sure? You want to throw that on camera?" Bambi's tone didn't waver. "If it's not on camera, it doesn't matter." Kirk finally set his phone down. His voice was calm, but there was a current under it. "You better be careful with what you're starting. This isn't just gossip, this is people's lives." She tilted her head slightly. "Maybe it's time those lives get looked at for what they really are." Mendeces shifted in his seat, his brows drawing together. "Bam, you know if you go down this road, there's no coming back." Whatever you've got, it's not just gonna hit Kirk, it's gonna hit everyone connected to him. Bambi's eyes softened for only a second. Then maybe they need to hear it too. Spice leaned forward again, clearly intrigued. So you've been holding on to something? For how long? Bambi's lips curved faintly, long enough to know exactly when to drop it. Yandi glanced between them, frowning. Bam! This could turn ugly real fast. I hope you've got more than just talk, because once you say it, you can't unsay it. Bambi's voice lowered. I've got more than talk. The table went still. Kirk's fingers flexed once against the edge, then laced together again. You really think you're about to end me? She met his stare without blinking. I don't think. I know. Mendices leaned back slightly, shaking his head. You're not giving even a hint. Nothing. You're just gonna drop that and make us wait. Exactly, she replied, her tone flat but deliberate. Let the waiting do the work. Spice gave a small laugh, though her eyes were sharp. Oh, she calculated this. She knows the cameras will eat it alive, Jock tapped the table lightly. Yeah, but Kirk, you're just gonna sit there and take that? Kirk's gaze shifted from Bambi to Jock. Sometimes silence says more than words. She wants me to react, but I'm not giving her the satisfaction. Bambi leaned back now, finally breaking her locked eye contact. React or don't either way. The truth doesn't change. The crew kept filming, adjusting focus, capturing the small movements, the tightening of Kirk's jaw, the slow curve of Spice's smirk, the way Yandi's fingers fidgeted against her phone case. It was the kind of tension that didn't need shouting to be explosive. And somewhere in the background, boom operator mouthed something to a camera op. This is gold. No one moved to change the subject. No one dared. The moment felt suspended, as if the wrong word could make the entire set combust. Bambi stayed still, her posture relaxed, but her eyes still lit with whatever she was holding back. Kirk sat opposite her, breathing slow and steady. But his grip on the table edge told a different story in that room. With the hum of the lights and the sound of faint footsteps in the hallway outside, it was clear this wasn't going to be a regular taping day. The stillness didn't last forever. Somewhere behind the cameras, a producer finally gave a hand signal, urging the conversation forward, but no one at the table seemed ready to move on. Spice broke the quiet first, leaning her chin into her palm with a slow grin. You know what I like about this? Bam came in with a plan. She didn't just wake up messy. This is premeditated messy. Bambi's eyes flicked toward her, but she didn't confirm or deny it. Kirk stayed quiet, though his leg had started bouncing beneath the table, a tell he probably didn't realize the cameras were catching. Mendices noticed, his gaze shifting between the two of them like he was trying to measure exactly how far this could go before someone got up and walked out. Yandi cleared her throat, trying for a lighter tone. Bam! Since you've made that announcement, are we talking receipts? Like real undeniable proof? 'Cause, once this airs, people will want evidence, not just hints. Bambi's response was almost too casual. Receipts are easy. Timing is the hard part. Spice let out a short laugh. That's scary, because that means she's been sitting on this, just waiting to ruin somebody's day. Jacques shifted in his seat, a smirk tugging at his lips. Nah, ruin somebody's career, apparently. It's a whole different league. The weight of his words hung for a beat, and Kirk finally leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. If you're gonna say something, just say it. Don't act like you're doing me some kind of favor by holding back. You think you can end me? Then do it now. Bambi tilted her head, almost studying him. Oh, you want me to hand you time to spin it? To make calls? Prep your defense. No, Kirk. You'll get it when everyone else gets it. That's the point. Mendices rubbed a hand over his jaw. Bam! I'm telling you, this is the kind of thing that spirals. Once it's out there, you can't control how it's told. People will twist it, add to it. They already do that, she said flatly. At least this time, the core of it will be mine. Spice leaned in, lowering her voice like the mics wouldn't pick it up. Is this about money, cheating, or something worse? Bambi's eyes flickered, and for a second, Kirk's jaw tightened. Again, she didn't answer directly, but the shift in his body language was enough to make Spice sit back with a knowing look. Joc raised his brows, clearly enjoying the show. OHHH. See? That's the thing about silence. It says too much. Yandi tried again, her tone sharper now. Bam, don't play games if this is serious. You're talking about potentially destroying someone's livelihood. If you're bluffing, it's gonna blow back on you. Bambi turned to her, calm but pointed. Does this look like a bluff? And DC's exhaled heavily. This is messy, even for us. Kirk leaned back again, forcing a small laugh. You know what's funny? The only time people talk about ending my career is when they want attention for themselves. It's always a stunt. And the people who try it, well, they don't usually last long after. Bambi's tone didn't shift. Maybe you've just never gone up against the right person. The crew was locked in, eyes darting between the monitors and the live scene. You could almost hear the sound of reality TV gold being captured. Even the set assistants, usually busy swapping coffee cups or adjusting mics' heads, stilled in the background. Spice broke the tension with a sly grin. "'Kay, but if this is really going down next episode, I'm bringing popcorn. Not missing it." "You might want something stronger than popcorn," Bambi said quietly. That got a laugh from Joc, but it was quickly cut short when Kirk turned toward him. "You think this is funny?" Joc lifted his hands. "Hey man, I'm just observing. I didn't bring the storm, she did." Okay. Mendices muttered something under his breath, and Yandi shot him a quick look, as if warning him not to get pulled in. Bambi glanced at Kirk one more time. "You've been comfortable too long. Nobody's held you accountable because they were too scared of the fallout. I'm not scared." "You should be," Kirk said, voice low. That made Spice lean forward again. "Oh, so there is something to be scared of? Good to know." Yandi shifted uncomfortably, clearly not liking where this was going. "Bam, if you're doing this, just be ready for the war that comes after. Because it won't just be Kirkidal, be anyone standing with him." Bambi met her eyes without flinching. "Let them come." The words landed with the same kind of weight as her opening statement, and for a moment, no one said anything. Then, in the corner, one of the producers made a small note on their clipboard, probably already picturing how this scene would cut into the final episode. Outside the main table, a couple of crew members exchanged glances, one of them mouthing something like, "She's serious," while the others shook their head in disbelief. Joc leaned back, his expression somewhere between amused and concerned. This is one of those times where you can feel the internet getting ready to explode. Spice nodded slowly. "Oh yeah, they're gonna eat this up. Every blog, every fan page, every shady account. This is gonna be headline material for weeks." Glance toward the cameras only if you let it be. Bambi's reply was immediate. "You don't get to control this one, Kirk. Not anymore." The air was tight, charged like a storm front, rolling in but not yet breaking. Kirk held her gaze for a long beat, then looked away, as if deciding that engaging any further would give her exactly what she wanted, but everyone else at the table could see it. The smallest crack in his calm, and Bambi saw it too. The silence after. Kirk looked away, felt heavier than the back and forth that came before. Everyone could sense it. He wasn't retreating because he'd won. He was retreating because he didn't want to slip and reveal too much. That, in itself, was a sign for Bambi. She shifted slightly in her seat, almost like she was storing that reaction for later use. Joc was the first to break it, his voice carrying just enough sarcasm to sting. "So what? That's it? Y'all just gonna glare at each other until next season?" Spice chuckled, but it was the kind of laugh meant to cut the tension without actually diffusing it. "Nah, this ain't over. I can feel it." He's just warming up? Bambi didn't look at Spice, didn't even acknowledge the comment. Her focus stayed on Kirk. You've been protected for too long. There's too many people out here covering for you because they think you're untouchable. You've built your whole image on that. But when the curtain drops, what's left? Kirk let out a low exhale, leaning back. And you think you're the one to drop that curtain? No, she said evenly. I know I am. Yandi shifted in her chair, clearly uncomfortable with how sure Bambi sounded. Bam, I'm just saying, once you cross that line, you can't go back. You've been around long enough to know how this game works. If you're doing this for payback, you need to be ready for the blowback. This isn't payback, Bambi replied. This is accountability. Mendices, who had been unusually quiet, finally spoke. Accountability and revenge look the same when the cameras are rolling. People are going to decide for themselves, no matter what you say. Bambi turned her head toward him. Let them decide. I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm here to show them what's been hiding in plain sight. Spice's grin widened. Oh, that's a bar? You should put that on a t-shirt before the episode drops. Kirk's jaw clenched again, his patience thinning. You really think you can stand there and talk like you're some hero in this? Bam! You're not above playing the same games you're accusing me of? Don't act like you're clean. Her eyes narrowed. The difference is, I'm not hiding mine. Jock leaned forward, clearly enjoying the escalation. Y'all, this is giving me flashbacks to the reunion when Scrappy and Erica went at it. Remember that? The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. This isn't a reunion, Kirk muttered, and I'm not here for theatrics. Bambi's lips curved into the smallest, coldest smile. You might not be here for theatrics, but theatrics are here for you. The table went quiet again. Somewhere in the background, a mic picked up the faint rustle of a producer shifting papers, as if even they didn't know where this was headed. Spice finally broke in. Bam! Without telling us what it is. Give us something. A word, a clue. Something to chew on until next time. Bambi paused, then looked directly at Kirk as she spoke. Betrayal. The word landed like a punch. Kirk didn't flinch, but his stillness was telling. Jock's eyebrows shot up. That could mean 100 things. Betrayal in business. Betrayal in love. Betrayal in friendship. What are we talking about here? Bambi didn't answer. Instead, she picked up her drink, taking a slow sip while never breaking eye contact with Kirk. Yandi's side, shaking her head. This is exactly what I was talking about, dropping little bombs without context. The fans are going to run wild with this. Good, Bambi said simply. Mendices rubbed his temples. Bam! You're playing with fire. And Kirk, he turned toward him. If there's something she's got, you need to be ready for it. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. Kirk's voice was steady, almost too steady. I've been ready for everything in this business. People have been trying to take me down since before half of y'all even got here. I'm still standing. Bambi leaned forward slightly. For now, Spice gave a low whistle. This is messy. I love it. In the background, you could hear the faint sound of someone from the crew muttering, "Oh my God," under their breath. The room had that rare energy where everyone knew they were watching something that would live far beyond the episode. JOC tapped the table. Bam! You do realize once this airs, you're going to be public enemy number one in certain circles. Are you ready for that heat? She didn't hesitate. Let it come. The truth doesn't need to be liked. Kirk's laugh was short and humorless. Truth? You keep saying that like it's some absolute. Your truth isn't the truth. Bam. Remember that? Then let everyone see and decide for themselves, she said, her voice calm but unshakable. Yandi glanced at Mendices again, almost as if silently asking him to step in and cool things down. But he stayed quiet this time. The dynamics at the Bambi's eyes locked on his. Maybe that's exactly the point. Timing matters. The right truth at the wrong time can fall flat. The right truth at the right time It changes everything. Spice's grin widened. And let me guess, the right time just so happens to be next episode. Bambi didn't answer. Instead, she glanced back at Kirk. Letting the silence stretch long enough to make everyone shift in their seats, Kirk single quotes as jaw tightened. Bam, I've played this game longer than you've been in it. You think you've got something no one's ever tried before? Trust me, I've seen it all. She leaned forward just slightly, her voice dropping low enough that the mics had to strain to catch it. You haven't seen me. There was a small gasp from someone off camera. It's the kind of instinctive sound you make when you know a line is going to stick in people's heads. Jock laughed under his breath. Man, this is going to have Twitter on fire. The tension in Kirk's posture didn't break, but his eyes shifted first to Mendices, then to Yandi. Almost like he was silently asking if they were going to step in. Neither of them moved. Bambi kept going, her tone measured but unyielding. You've been in rooms where decisions were made about other people's lives and careers. You've smiled in faces while making choices that crushed them. Maybe you didn't think those people would ever get a voice. Maybe you thought the narrative would always be yours to control, but things change. Spice's voice cut through. And when they change fast. Exactly, Bambi said. And the faster they change, the harder it is to get ahead of it. You can't spin it, you can't bury it, you can't make it disappear. Not when the receipts are too loud to ignore. Kirk chuckled, but it was brittle. You love saying receipts. It's like your magic word. But anybody can print something, forge something, twist a story. You put that on TV and people take it as gospel. Doesn't make it real. Bambi tilted her head. Doesn't make it fake either. Yandi rubbed her forehead. This is exhausting to watch. I can't imagine being in it. Bam, whatever this is, I just hope you're ready for every reaction that's coming your way. Bambi nodded. I'm ready. Spice leaned in. Are you ready for his? That question hung in the air. And for the first time, Kirk's eyes narrowed in a way that made even Jock stop smiling. I've never been afraid of Kirk's reaction. Bambi said softly, because when you already know someone's patterns, their reaction stops being a threat. Becomes predictable. Mendices finally spoke again. Predictable or not, he's still got power in this industry. And that's the part I think you're underestimating. Bambi shook her head. The part you're underestimating is that power only works when people believe in it. Jock let out a low whistle. Damn, okay, that's deep. In the background, you could hear the faint shuffle of producers repositioning. Cameras making sure they caught every flicker of expression. It was the kind of exchange they knew would be replayed in slow motion online. Spice raised an eyebrow at Kirk. So what's your move? You're just gonna sit here and let her talk like this? Kirk finally leaned forward, his voice low and deliberate. My move is making sure the people who matter hear the real story first, not the edited dramatic version she wants to feed the fans. Bambi's smirk returned. Then you better start talking, because the clock is ticking. There was no yelling, no table slapping, just that sharp. Dangerous quiet where you knew the next words could push things past the point of no return. Yandi shifted uncomfortably. All right, maybe we should take a break. But Kirk interrupted her. Nah, I'm good. Bambi didn't blink. So am I. The scene froze in that unspoken standoff, the kind that makes you lean closer to your screen, waiting for one of them to finally pull the trigger. The silence from that standoff bled into the next scene like it never ended. The room felt smaller now, the air tighter, as if the cameras themselves were holding their breath. Kirk leaned back in his chair but didn't break eye contact with Bambi. She didn't flinch either. It was the kind of moment where neither one needed to speak for everyone else to feel the weight of it. Spice, who had been leaning forward with her chin on her hand, finally exhaled. Y'all are playing with fire, and I don't know who's gonna get burned first. Bambi's eyes shifted briefly toward her before returning to Kirk. Sometimes you gotta light a match just to see who's really in the room. Kirk's voice was calm but edged with steel. And sometimes you set the wrong thing on fire and it takes down everything you care about. Mendices let out a quiet hum, almost like he was warning her without saying the words. This is a small circle. Bam. The wrong move can make it even smaller. But Bambi didn't look shaken. I'm not here to be comfortable in a small circle. I'm here to make sure the right people get exposed, no matter how protected they think they are. Jock shifted in his seat, half smiling. Bam, you sound like you've already written the script in your head. Like you've got this scene ready to drop. Maybe I do, she replied. Yandi's brow furrowed. You're playing this close to the chest. Too close. It's making people nervous. Bambi tilted her head. Maybe they should be nervous. Spice laughed under her breath. Girl, if you're trying to shake the table, you've already tipped it halfway over. The tension broke slightly when a producer called for a mic adjustment, but the energy never really eased. Bambi leaned back now, crossing her arms, her voice dropping. Next episode isn't just another episode. It's the one people are going to talk about for years. The one they'll rewind, clip, repost, argue about in comment sections until they're hoarse. Kirk's smirk was faint, almost mocking. You think you're the first one to make promises like that? I've heard it all. Next week is the big one. The next episode changes everything. It's all noise until it actually happens. Her lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Then I guess you'll just have to wait and see if I'm nice. There was a brief cut to confessional-style commentary where Spice leaned into the camera. Bam got this energy like she's holding the last card in the deck. But if she's bluffing, she's gonna look real foolish. And if she's not, who? Kirk better be ready for the fallout. Back in the scene, Yandi tried to steer it away from open warfare. Look, if whatever you've got is that serious, maybe there's another way to handle it without blowing everything up on camera. Bambi shook her head slowly. The problem with behind-the-scenes conversations is they stay behind the scenes. And that's how people like Kirk keep doing what they do. Mendices interjected, his tone more measured. There's a difference between accountability and public execution. You gotta decide which one you're after. Accountability, Bambi said, without hesitation. But sometimes public is the only way it sticks. Kirk finally broke his stillness, leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. Bam, I've got history in this game. You can try to twist that history, you can try to rewrite it, but you can't erase it. I've built too much. She didn't look away. Sometimes the tallest buildings cast the darkest shadows. There was a beat of silence where even the ambient noises in the room seemed to fade, replaced by the faint hum of tension. JOC let out a low whistle. Yeah, nah, y'all not coming back from this one clean? The camera cut again, this time to Kirk's confessional. I've been in this business too long to let somebody's words knock me off my path. People talk. That's what they do. But I've got my own moves to make, and when the time's right, I'll make them. Meanwhile, Bambi's confessional painted a different picture. He's counting on me not following through. He's counting on me backing down because the pressure gets too real. But what he doesn't know is that I've been ready for this moment for a long time, and I'm not scared of what comes after. Back on set, Spice was shaking her head with a grin. The group chat's gonna be messy tonight. Yandi sighed. Messy doesn't even cover it. This is gonna be chaos. Bambi tapped her fingers lightly against the table. Chaos isn't always bad. Sometimes it clears the air. Kirk gave her one last look before pushing his chair back. Be careful what you clear. Bam. You might not like what's left standing. She didn't answer, and the cameras caught that final shot of them holding each other's gaze. No words needed. It was the kind of cliffhanger moment that producers dream about, the unspoken promise that the next time these two share a frame, everything will be different. The episode's energy lingered even as people started to leave the table. In the background, you could hear the muffled chatter of crew members already guessing which part of the footage would break the internet. Some swore it would be Bambi's match and fire comment. Others said it would be Kirk's warning. Either way, the consensus was clear. Something irreversible was coming. And just before the screen faded, Bambi's voice was caught off camera, low but certain. Next week, we stop pretending. So after everything we just saw, the real question isn't just about what Bambi might have. It's about how far she's willing to go to use it. We've seen tensions on this show reach boiling points before, but the way she looked Kirk dead in the eye and promised that the next episode would end his career. That's not something you say unless you truly believe you're holding the winning card. And from the way the room shifted, the way even Spice and Yandy seemed to know this wasn't just idle talk. It's clear that whatever's coming is going to leave its mark. But here's the part nobody's ready for if Bambi really drops what she's hinting at. It's not just Kirk who could be affected. There are ripple effects. Relationships, alliances, even the show's dynamic could change in a heartbeat. We're talking about a moment that could define the rest of the season. Maybe even the future of certain cast members. And you have to wonder what's going through Kirk's head right now? Is he scrambling to get ahead of the narrative? Or is he confident that Bambi is bluffing? The silence he left with tonight says more than words ever could. Either way, one thing's certain. The countdown to next episode is going to feel longer than ever. Fans are already buzzing. The group chats are heating up. Everyone's waiting to see if this will be the explosion that changes everything. But what about you? You think Bambi really has the kind of receipts that could end Kirk's career? Or is this all part of a bigger play? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you're ready for the drama. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the moment the truth finally hits the screen.